Welcome, Nightlings. This is Huxley. Do me a big favor and drop a comment below to help encourage the algorithm to show this episode to more people like you. It could be where you're listening from, the time there, your favorite story in history. Anything. I read every note. Tonight, you are born a slave in ancient Rome. And by the time you die, you will be more free than the men who own the world, and they will never, ever understand how. There is a stone floor under your knees, and it is cold. You notice that first. Not the fear. The cold. The way the chill of the flagstone soaks up through the worn wool of your tunic and settles into your bones. The way the lamplight pools yellow on the floor in front of your face. A single clay lamp somewhere off to your left. You can hear the oil in it, that faint, fat hiss as the flame drinks. And you can hear the man above you, breathing, hard, ragged. He has been drinking. You smelled it before he ever touched you. The sour, sweet reek of cheap wine gone warm. And now his breath comes in those short, furious pulls, the breathing of a man who has decided to be angry and is feeding the fire of it on purpose. His fingers are wrapped around your shin, just below the knee, and he is twisting. Slowly, deliberately, testing how far the joint will give. It gives a long way before it starts to hurt. And then it hurts. Now, you should be afraid. A reasonable person, with this man's hand bending your leg in a direction legs are not built to bend, would be begging. Weeping, promising, swearing whatever needs swearing. The man above you wants that, you can feel it, in the way his grip keeps pausing, hungry for the sound of you breaking before the bone does. You don't give it to him. You're not sure yourself where the quiet comes from. Somewhere behind your eyes there's a stillness that has no business being there. A calm that doesn't feel like courage and doesn't feel like defiance. It feels almost like watching, like you've stepped half a pace back from your own body, and you're observing the whole thing with a mild, far-away interest. He twists harder. The pain goes white at the edges. And you speak. Your voice comes out level, almost gentle, as though you were doing him a courtesy. You're going to break it, you tell him. He stops, just for a heartbeat. You've startled him. Not the words, but the way you said them. No tears in them. No pleading. Just a quiet, flat statement of fact. The way you'd warn a man he's about to step in a puddle. Then his face hardens, because a slave is not supposed to sound like that. And he leans his whole weight into it to teach you the lesson your calm refused to learn on its own. You feel the bone reach the limit of what it can bear. That strange, shuddering tension in the deep of your leg, like something stretched too far and humming. And you say it again, softer, almost kind. I told you, you're going to break it. The lamp hisses, his breath catches, and the bone, crack. Now, stay with me. Don't flinch away from it. Something is happening to you right here, kneeling on this stone, though you don't yet have the words for it. The pain is the only thing of yours he can actually reach, not the rest of you. The rest of you is somewhere he cannot follow. And the strangest part, the part you can feel even now, even through the pain, is that he knows this too. But to understand how you came to be kneeling here, unafraid, with your own body breaking and a strange peace behind your eyes. We have to go a long way back. Welcome, Nightlings. This is Huxley. If you like listening or falling asleep to real stories that will reveal life's deeper truths, then this is the place for you. Consider subscribing and let the next story find you when you need it most. Tonight, I have a special episode for you. The man whose life you'll live tonight is invented, but nothing that happens to him is. All the events in tonight's story are a compilation of real Stoics whose lives and writings survive today. Epictetus, the freed slave; Zeno, the shipwrecked merchant; Seneca, the emperor's tutor; Musonius Rufus, the exile who taught on a barren island; and Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor. So settle in, feel free to dim the lights, turn off notifications, put away your phone, and let's begin. You are born among white hills that look in the early light like they're carved from snow that never melts. They aren't snow. The whiteness is stone, soft and strange, laid down over centuries by the hot water that comes up out of the ground here, steaming in this corner of Phrygia, far to the east of any place you'll ever be told matters. The water spills down the hillside and turns to stone as it goes, terrace after terrace, and the steam rises off it at dawn, like the whole world is breathing. As a very small child, you think the hills are clouds that got tired and lay down. It's the first beautiful thing you ever see. And you started somewhere beautiful. That's worth holding on to. You are warm here. That's the thing your body remembers longest, longer than any face. The warmth, the warm water, the warm wool, the warm dark of the little space where you sleep, and your mother. Your mother is a weaver. She works wool in a corner of a house that does not belong to either of you, though you're too young to understand what that sentence means. You only know the loom, the steady wooden clack of it all day. You sit at her feet in the wool dust and the light, and sometimes she lets you push the shuttle through and laughs when you tangle it, and her laugh goes all the way through you like the water of the hot springs. And at night, when the lamp is out, she holds you and she says your name, your real name, the one she chose. She whispers it against your hair, soft, in the old tongue of this place, a Phrygian word with round, warm sounds in it, manes. It means nothing grand. It's an old, plain, common name in these hills, the kind 100 mothers have whispered to 100 sleeping children. But she says it like it's the only one of its kind in the whole world, like a small flame she's cupping her hands around. And she tells you that a name is a thread, and a thread can be followed home. You believe her? Of course you do. You're a child, and the water is warm, and your mother knows your name. Here's what no one tells you, kneeling at her feet in the wool dust. You own none of this, not the house. You knew that vaguely. The house has a master somewhere, a man you rarely see. But it's more than the house. You don't own the warmth, or the loom, or the white hills, or the steady safety of being small and known. And you don't own her. You don't own your mother. The law that governs this entire world you were born into has already decided that the woman at the loom can be bought and sold, and that you can too, and that the bond between you, the thread, the small cupped flame, has exactly no weight at all in any ledger that counts. You learn this on an ordinary morning. A man comes. There's money. You don't see it, but you feel it move through the house, the way you feel weather change. And your mother stops weaving. She turns from the loom, her hands coming up to her mouth, and she looks at you with a look you have never seen on her face before. A look that scares you more than anything has ever scared you, because she is the one who is supposed to not be scared. They've sold her. Not you, her. She's a skilled weaver, and skilled weavers fetch a good price, and somewhere a buyer wanted one. And so the matter is settled. She is going. You are staying. The way you'd part out 2 tools from a kit. She holds you, fast and hard and far too short. Her face in your hair, breathing you in. She says your name, Mains, over and over, like she's trying to sew it into you so it can't come loose. And then hands you've never resented before take you by the shoulders gently enough, and there is a doorway, and the bright morning beyond it, and there is your mother's back, and then the white hills swallow the road, and she is gone. And you are very small, and you have just learned the hardest thing there is to learn, and there are no words for it, none at all. You own nothing, not even the people you love. Now, I won't pretend to know exactly what those next years held for you. The sources are silent here, the way they're silent for almost everyone born the way you were born. The great get their lives written down. The rest of us are a number in a column, if that. You know only that the road, when it finally comes for you, is long. You're older now, old enough to be worth selling on. And the road runs west, to the heaving grey back of the sea. And then there is more road, and at the end of the whole long thread, there is Rome. You smell Rome before you see it. Smoke and bread and something rotten and something sweet and the press of more human beings than you knew the world contained. And in the middle of it, in a market square loud as a battlefield, there is a low wooden stand. A block. They put you up on it. They've whitened your feet with chalk. You don't understand why at first, and then you do. The chalk is a mark, the sign that says imported, shipped in from far away, and we make no promises. Around your neck they've hung a little wooden placard. A titulus, you can't read it, but you can guess what's written there, because the men in the crowd lean in and read it aloud to each other. Where you're from, how old you are, what you can do, and this is the part that does something cold to your stomach. What's wrong with you? Your defects listed plain. A man steps up. He takes your jaw in his hand and turns your face to the light, the way you'd turn a coin to check the stamp. He has you walk a few steps and back, your chalked feet leaving pale prints on the boards. He haggles with the dealer, one of the Mangones, the slave traders, and even the other Romans say the word with a little curl of the lip, as if selling people is fine, but doing it for a living is somehow grubby. The two of them talking over the top of your head as though you were never quite the kind of thing that hears. You are being priced. You stand there, a person with a mother and a memory of white hills and a real name folded up small inside you. And to every eye in that square, you are a vessel on a shelf. Sound or cracked? Worth the asking, or worth a little less? Priced like a vase. And here is the small dark joke of it. And finding the joke you're starting to see is sometimes the only thing they leave you. You sell. Some household needs a boy, and you're a likely-looking one, and the coins change hands, and a man comes to collect you, not the master. The master would no more come to a market himself than he'd muck out his own stables. This is the household steward, and he looks you up and down with the bored efficiency of someone who's done this 100 times. He needs to call you something. You have a name, a beautiful name, a name your mother sewed into you in a doorway, but no one asks. A slave you're learning has no more right to a name of his own than to anything else. The name is the master's to give, like the tunic on your back. He looks at your chalked feet, at the long road in your face. He thinks for about as long as it takes to decide where to set down a parcel. Felix, he says, and he laughs. You don't know why he laughs, not at first, and then you do. Felix. It's a Roman word, and it means the lucky one, the fortunate, the blessed by the gods. He's looked at a chalk-footed boy sold off a block in a foreign city, a boy who owns nothing, not his labor, not his future, not his own name. And he's decided the funniest possible thing to call you is lucky. The men nearby chuckle too, a good joke by their lights. You hold very still and you let them have it. And somewhere underneath, down where the steward's wit can't reach, you keep the other name, the real one, the thread. You don't know if it leads anywhere anymore, whether there's still a home at the far end of it, or a loom, or a pair of warm hands. You only know that it's yours, the one thing in this whole loud city that is actually, secretly, entirely yours. Mains. You hold it like a small flame, cupped in both hands where no one can see. The cart gates of a great house open, and you are carried up onto a Roman hill, into a world built to look like it has never once known fear. The house is called a domus, and it is the largest enclosed space you have ever stood inside that wasn't a temple. You come in out of the roar of the street, a quarter called the Suburra, packed and shouting and gloriously alive, all baking bread and 1,000 voices, and the carts that aren't allowed to roll until dark. So the nights are louder than the days, and the door closes behind you, and there is suddenly a great cool hush. The center of the house is open to the sky. You stand in it and look up, and there's a square of blue hanging directly overhead, and beneath it, set into the floor, a shallow pool to catch the rain. The atrium, this room is called. The pool is the impluvium. When it rains, the water comes down through that square of sky in a soft silver column and fills the pool, and the whole house seems to drink. The most beautiful thing rich people have ever done. Let the weather in just to admire it. Now, you learn the house the way you learn everything from here on out. By watching, by reading the room, and that becomes your great skill in these first years, the thing that keeps you whole. You learn to read a room the way your mother read a length of cloth, by feel, by tiny tells. You learn which footsteps in the corridor mean trouble and which mean nothing, the master's moods from the set of his shoulders before he's said a word. You learn that the safest place to be is slightly behind and to the left, useful and unremarkable. There exactly when a cup needs filling, and invisible the rest of the time. Nobody teaches it to you. You'd be punished for not knowing it, and rewarded for it only by being left alone, which you discover is its own kind of reward. The days have a shape. They start before dawn, in the dark, with the salutatio. The master is a man of some standing, which means that every morning while the sky is still grey, the atrium fills with men who need something from him. Clients, they're called, lesser men who come to pay their respects and collect their small handouts. They crowd in, they wait, they wear their best, and you move among them with the other household slaves, eyes down, and you watch the whole performance of it. The bowing and the flattering, the careful arithmetic of who gets greeted warmly and who gets a cold nod. A child in a forest of togas, watching the entire machinery of Rome run in miniature, every morning in this one room. And the days end with the cena, the dinner. This is the heart of the house, and it's where you work hardest. In the evening, the master and his guests gather in the triclinium. 3 long couches set around a low table, and they recline. They actually lie down to eat, propped on one elbow, the way you'd lie down to sleep, except they do it for hours, course after course, and between them you carry the plates and you refill the wine, always cut with water, never letting a cup run dry. You stand against the wall in the lamplight and you wait and you listen. Oh, you listen. Because here's a thing nobody warns the diners about. The boy against the wall has ears, and the men on the couches full of watered wine like to talk about big ideas. They've all read a little philosophy. It's fashionable. And late in the evening when the food's gone and the wine hasn't, one of them will get going about the good life, about virtue, about how a wise man needs nothing, fears nothing, and is master of himself. And then one of them snaps his fingers without looking, because his cup is empty, and you cross the room and fill it. And not one of them so much as glances at the human being who needs nothing and fears nothing in order to do it. You keep your face very still. At night you don't have a room. The on-duty slave sleeps in the corridor. On the floor, outside the master's door, close enough to come at a word, a body laid across the threshold like a living log. So that's where you sleep, a lot of nights on the cool tile with a thin cover, listening to the great house tick and settle, listening to the carts roar in the dark of the Sabura beyond the walls. You'd be surprised what you get used to. And then something changes the shape of your whole life, and it happens for the coldest possible reason. Someone notices you're quick. A boy in a household like this is worth a certain amount. But a boy who can read, who can take dictation, copy a letter, read aloud to the master while he dines, keep accounts, a boy like that is worth a great deal more. He's not a pair of hands anymore. He's an instrument that can run a rich man's whole written life, and rich men will pay accordingly. So they teach you your letters. Understand why? Because it matters, and it isn't kindness. No one in this house has looked at you and thought your mind is a fine thing that ought to be fed. They've looked at you and done a sum. A reading boy is worth more than a fetching boy. They're polishing the vase. But here's the strange, secret thing about being polished. You take to it. The letters open like doors, the Greek and then the Latin, the shapes that turn into sounds, that turn into words, that turn into everything. Other people's thoughts poured straight into your head. Ideas stacked on shelves in the master's library, free for any mind quick enough to reach them. They meant to make you more valuable. They did. But they also, without it ever occurring to a single one of them as a risk, handed you the one tool that could one day pry you loose from all of this. Your value goes up, and quietly, where no ledger tracks it, so does something else. You don't say any of that out loud, of course. You bend over the wax tablet and you learn fast, and you let them be pleased with their good investment. And it's around this time that the house gives you two of its most important faces. The first is Helene. She's a slave in the household, like you. A little older, maybe. You notice her the way you notice warmth coming into a cold room. Not all at once, just a gradual realization that things are better when she's near. She works the household's cloth and linen, which means her hands, like your mother's, always smell faintly of wool. And the first time you catch that smell off her, it does something to your chest that you have to turn away from. She's quick too. Quick with her tongue, with a dry little way of saying things that lands a joke an inch under the surface where the masters can't hear it. She'll murmur something as a pompous guest sweeps past, just under her breath, and you'll have to bite the inside of your cheek to keep your face still. She is the reason an owned life becomes a livable life. You hadn't known you were starving for it. For someone who sees you, the actual you, the mains you, and not the Felix, not the instrument, not the polished vase, she sees you, you see her, and in a house where you own nothing, you find, to your terror, that you have come to love something anyway. To your terror, yes, because love, here, is a thread, and you've already learned exactly how little a thread weighs in the ledgers that matter. Helene can be sold, any morning, the way your mother was sold, on a day that started like any other. There's no marriage the law will honor, nothing to keep a buyer in one quarter, and a cellar in another from simply deciding. Even on the good days, especially on the good days, there's a small cold weight low in your stomach that never fully goes away. The dread of an ordinary morning, the money moving through the house like weather. But that's for the bad nights. Most nights she's just near, and her hands smell of wool, and she makes you laugh, and that's enough. That's more than enough. The second face is Bassus. Bassus is the steward, not the brisk one from the market, a different man, the one who runs this household's daily affairs. And Bassus is a curious thing, a thing you'll spend years trying to understand. Because Bassus is free. He wasn't always. He was a slave once, in this very house, years back, and somehow earned or bought his freedom. And now, he's a freedman, a libertus, a man who took his old master's family name and answers to no one's whip. He's done the impossible thing. He's out. And he is the cruelest, smallest soul under this roof. You'd think, wouldn't you, that a man who'd known the block himself, who'd worn the chalk and felt the hand on his jaw, would be gentle with the ones still in it. It does the opposite. Bassus is terrified all the time of slipping back down, of the taint that clings to a freedman no matter how high he climbs. And he takes that terror, all of it, and pours it downward, onto you, onto Helene, onto everyone he can still stand above. He's quick to the stick, quicker to the word that cuts, free in law, free as the law can make a man. And inside, in the only place that ever counts, more chained than any of you. You don't have the words for that yet either, only the watching. You watch him stride through the atrium with his freeman's name and his freeman's cap and his small, frightened heart, and something in you files it away. How a man can hold the very thing you'd give anything for, and be so plainly, so completely not free. So that's the house then. Bassus somewhere down a corridor. A bad weather you learn to track. And Helen near, her hands smelling of wool. A joke held just under her breath. The warmth that makes the cold tile bearable. It's a narrow life, balanced on a knife. You own nothing and you can lose everything, and you sleep on the floor across a doorway like a living log. But it holds. For now, tonight in the low lamplight of a great house on a Roman hill, it holds, and she's only a room away, and you can almost hear her breathing, and that is enough to close your eyes on. That is enough. The lamp hisses, and Bassus is breathing over you, and the bone is broken, and you need to understand how a man comes to do this, because it isn't madness, and it isn't an accident, and it isn't whatever he tells himself in the morning, the wine. The wine is just the door he walked through. The thing was in the room long before tonight. Here's what changed in the months before this floor. You got good. The reading boy became a reading man, and the master, a busy man, with letters going out to estates in 3 provinces, and accounts that never quite added up the way he wanted. Found that the quiet Greek with the steady hand could be trusted with the kind of things a household's secrets are made of. You started carrying tablets that Bassus used to carry. Started being in the room when Bassus was sent to wait in the corridor. The master would wave a hand without looking up. That small, careless gesture that moves people around like furniture. And the hand would mean you, not him, you. And Bassus felt the floor of his whole life begin to tilt. You have to see it from where he stands, because it explains everything, including the bone. Bassus clawed his way up out of the same dark you're in now. He bought himself loose, and he built his whole self on one foundation only, that he was above the slaves, that the distance between him and the boy on the floor was the most important distance in the world, and would never, ever close. And now there's a slave the master prefers, one who can do the very thing, read and write and reckon, that makes Bassus useful. Take that away, and what is he? A freedman with a stick. You didn't take anything from him. You kept your eyes down, and your gift folded up small, the way you fold everything you can't afford to be caught having. But it didn't matter. Your simply being good at it was the theft. He watched you the way a man watches water rising, and the old, bottomless terror of slipping back down into the dark he'd crawled out of needed somewhere to go. It found a night, a jar of wine, and a corridor where you slept across a doorway like a living log. He's been at you a while now. You've already told him twice, in that level voice that isn't courage and isn't defiance, the voice that surprises even you. And he's heard, in your calm, the very thing he can't bear. A boy on the floor, owned outright and still, infuriatingly, not afraid of him. And so he leans his whole weight in to put the fear back where it belongs. And the bone gives. You heard the sound. You'll always have the sound. But here's the strange thing. The thing that happens in the white silence that fills the room. The pain arrives like a wall of light. It's enormous. I won't make it small for you. White and total. A sun going off in the deep of your leg. Your breath stops. Your vision narrows to a tunnel. And somewhere far off, you can feel Bassus let go and step back. Breathing hard, waiting, hungry, still, even now, for the thing he came for. The weeping, the begging, the proof that he is, after all, above you. You don't give it to him, not out of spite. You're somewhere very quiet now, somewhere the pain hasn't been able to follow all the way in. And from that quiet place you notice, with that same faraway watching, that there's a line running through the middle of all this. A seam. On one side, the leg, the bone, the flesh that is, you understand now, with a clarity that has no words yet. His. The law says so. The body is the thing they sell on the block, the thing they whiten with chalk. The body was never yours, and on the other side of the seam, there's you, the part that's watching, the part that decided somewhere behind your eyes not to scream. He didn't reach that. He reached bone, and bone was all he reached, because the rest of you had quietly stepped back across a line he doesn't know is there. He owns the leg. He does not own the no. He has won completely and gotten nothing. You don't have a single word for any of this. You're a lamed slave on a cold floor, and you couldn't explain what just happened in you. But you felt it. You felt that there is a place in a person that no master, no law, no breaking hand can enter unless the person opens the door. And that you, kneeling here with your body in ruins, did not open the door. Bassus says something, some threat, some justification. The words a frightened man uses to paper over what he's done. You barely hear it. He straightens his tunic. He picks up the lamp. Your eyes follow the little clay lamp, the one steady thing, the oil still hissing as the flame drinks. And he carries it away with him, and the dark comes in, and you're left on the tile with the white sun still burning in your leg, and a strange, unaskable calm laid over the top of it like a cool cloth. You lie still. You breathe, slow, long, all the way out. The great house ticks and settles. Beyond the walls, the carts of the Subura roar in the dark, indifferent, while one of Rome's countless owned bodies lies broken on a floor. No more remarked than a cracked tile. And you hold the one thing he couldn't take. You don't know its name, but you know it's yours. The way the other name is yours, man's. Cupped small, where no one can see. You add this to it now, this second secret thing, and you keep them both. Two flames the night can't reach. A leg can be broken. You've learned that tonight. But something in you kneeling here would not break. You don't need a name for it tonight. You hold it in the dark until sleep comes to carry you under. The leg heals crooked. It was always going to. There's no surgeon for a slave's leg. A splint somebody ties on with rough hands, a few days flat on the tile, and then you're up. Because a household runs on hands, and yours are still good, even if the leg isn't. So it knits the way it wants to, a little short, a little wrong, and for the rest of your life, you'll walk with a hitch in your step. You get used to it. And here's a small mercy, the kind you learn to notice. The limp makes you useful in a new way. A lame man can't run, can't haul the heavy loads, but a lame man can be sent out into the city on errands that don't need speed. A letter carried across the hill, a parcel collected from a copyist in the Argiletum. You become the household's legs in the world. The one whose legs don't quite work. And so, for the first time, you move through Rome alone, slowly, with time between one errand and the next, to stop, to look, to listen. That's how you find him. It's near the Forum, in the shaded mouth of a colonnade, where the city's noise drops to a murmur and the light comes down dusty and gold. There's a man sitting on a low step, plainly dressed. A tunic no finer than yours, a face you'd pass 100 times and never mark. and around him, sitting on the stones, leaning against the pillars, a knot of people listening. And the strangest thing is who's in it. There's a young man in a good toga, a citizen, money in the family, you can read it in the cloth. Beside him, a porter with rope burns on his hands, a merchant, a soldier off duty, and your breath catches. Slaves. 2, 3 of them in the plain undyed tunics you know from the inside, sitting among the free as though the line that runs through all of Rome, the line you've felt your whole life, as though here, in this dusty patch of shade, it simply didn't exist. You stop. You shouldn't. You've an errand and a master who counts the hours. But you stop, half behind a column, and you listen. The man's name is Sostratus, and he is not what you expect. Not comfort, not the warm, flattering nonsense the men on the couches talk. The good life side over a cup of watered wine. Sostratus is being difficult on purpose. A young man asks him something, eager, earnest, wanting to be told he has the makings of a philosopher. And Sostratus looks at him for a long, flat moment and tells him it's hard, that he probably hasn't the stomach for it. Philosophy isn't a thing you wear, like a nice cloak, to look wise at dinner. It's a thing you do alone, in the dark, with your own mind for an enemy. Come back, he says, when you can hear something you don't like. You find, to your own surprise, that you're smiling, because you know the shape of this man. He's testing them, pushing them off to see who climbs back on. He's the opposite of the dealer in the market who calls a chalk-footed boy lucky. Sostratus would never flatter you, and that is the most respectful thing anyone has done for you in years. He's not selling, he's sorting. And a man who sorts believes there's something there worth sorting. You go back. Of course you go back. You stretch your errands thin as you dare and drink it down. And one day, Sostratus, without turning his head, says, "You, by the pillar, you've a leg like mine." You freeze. You hadn't known he'd seen the limp. Hadn't known he had one too. The slight unevenness as he shifts on the step. He turns then and looks at you. A slave. He can see it in a glance, the same way everyone in Rome always can. But he doesn't wave you off, doesn't lower his voice the way the diners do when the help comes near. He looks at you exactly the way he looked at the young man in the toga, like a mind he's deciding whether to bother with. "Well," he says, "come where you can hear, or go where you can work. Don't loiter in between. That's the one thing a man can't afford, to be in two places and present in neither. You come where you can hear, and over the weeks that follow, stolen weeks, errand by errand, a quarter hour here, half an hour there, Sostratus hands you the words for the thing you've carried without a name. He talks one afternoon about what is and what isn't in our power. Some things, he says, are ours, ours in a way nothing can change. Our judgments, our choices, the yes and the no we give to the world. And some things are not ours and never were, no matter how hard we grip them. Our bodies, our property, our name, what other men do to us. The whole art, he says, the work of a lifetime, is learning to tell the two apart. to hold the first with everything you have, and to open your hand gently on the second, because he's describing a floor, a cold floor, and a lamp, and a hand on your leg, and a line running through the middle of it, the leg on one side, his, and the no on the other, yours. You'd felt the seam in the dark with no word for it. And here is a plain man on a plain step, handing you the word as though he hadn't just reached into the worst night of your life and named the thing that survived it. The body is not up to you, he says. Lameness is an impediment to the leg. He shifts his own bad leg on the step, and the corner of his mouth moves. But not, he says, to the will, unless you let it be. You could weep, you don't, but something behind your face cracks open, quietly, like a door coming unstuck. And then, because you are new at this, and the newly armed always swing too hard, you take the gift and you misuse it. You learn that the things outside your power, what others do, what you lose, are not in the end up to you. And some hard, hungry part of you hears that wrong. Hears, then nothing can touch you. Then the way to be safe, after a whole life of dreading the morning the man might come, is to want nothing. Pull everything in and feel as little as a stone. And it works. That's the terrible part. You go cold, and the coldness feels like strength. You feel the old dread loosen its grip, because you've simply decided to love nothing. And a man who loves nothing can't be robbed. You walk through the house and you think you've found the secret, the floor's lesson finished. And one evening Helene says your name, your house name, Felix, the only one she has. And you don't turn around. You hear it. You just don't turn. There's a wall up now, and her voice has to come a long way over it. She's saying something gentle, only for you. The kind of murmured thing that used to make you bite the inside of your cheek. And you give her the face, the blank one, the stone. You see it land. That's the worst of it. You're a man who reads rooms, and so you can't not see it. You watch the small light go out of her hands, those hands that smell of wool like your mother's, go still at her sides, and she nods once, the way a person nods when they've decided not to ask, and she goes. And you stand there in your safe, cold fortress of wanting nothing, and you have never, in your life, felt smaller. You tell Sostratus, you almost don't, pride, but it sits in you like a stone you can't swallow. And one afternoon it comes out, clumsy, half ashamed, how you've learned not to be touched, and how, somehow, working perfectly, it's the worst you've ever felt. Sostratus listens, and when you've finished he's quiet a moment, then laughs, never at you, but the dry, tired laugh of a man who has seen this exact wreck 100 times. "Oh," he says, "you've made the beginner's mistake, the one nearly everyone makes." He shifts the bad leg. "You think I've been teaching you not to feel." He hasn't, he says. A stone feels nothing, and a corpse feels nothing, and neither of them is free. They're just empty. What he's been trying to teach you isn't how to stop feeling. It's how to stop drowning. The man who loves nothing isn't strong. He's hidden. He's taken the one warmth in a cold house and put it out with his own hands because he was afraid it might be taken from him. And that isn't philosophy. That's just a different way of being a slave. You've only swapped the master. The fear of losing her, he says, was never the enemy. The enemy was being ruled by it, letting it make you grip, or letting it make you cold. Both are the fear, winning. Love her. Of course, love her. You can't be robbed of having loved. What the work is to love her without the begging, without the white knuckles. Hold her the way you'd hold anything you know you don't own, which is everything. Go home, he says. The same words he uses to send the unworthy away, but turned warm now, an instruction instead of a dismissal. Go home and turn around when she says your name. You go home and you turn around. It takes time. A wall comes down slower than it goes up. And Helene has her own dignity and doesn't simply melt because you've decided to be human again. But you let the warmth back through. You stop pretending the dread isn't there. And you find that letting yourself feel it is somehow the braver thing. You hold her the way Sostratus said. Loosely, fully. Two flames cupped that the night can't reach. And one evening she murmurs something under her breath as a pompous guest sweeps past. Something dry, something wicked. And you have to bite the inside of your cheek. And the world is, for that moment, exactly enough. You're a slave still. The leg's still crooked. You own nothing. Not the house, not the loom, not her, not your own name. Nothing has changed in any ledger that counts. You wake one July night because the dark is the wrong color. That's the thing you notice first. There shouldn't be light at this hour. The corridor outside the master's door should be black. But there's a glow, a low, sick, orange glow, seeping under the shutters, throbbing, the wrong color for dawn, and the wrong hour for it besides. You rise, the leg complains, it always complains, and you go to a window, and you look out over the rooftops of Rome. And the city is on fire. Not a house, not a street. Down the hill, toward the great hollow of the Circus Maximus, a wall of orange has stood up into the night, and it's moving. It climbs the dark in long, ragged tongues, the smoke rolling up black and blotting out the stars. And even from here, even up on the safe hill, with the wind for now blowing the heat away, you can hear it. The deep, soft, endless roar of a city burning, the sound of 10,000 homes becoming light. The household wakes. And then there's no philosophy, no line through the middle of things, only the buckets and the cistern, and the long human chain of hands passing water up to the roof against the embers that come drifting in on the hot wind like burning snow. You take your place in the chain, a body again, lame leg and all, one of the countless hands hauling Rome's water against Rome's fire. And the master himself is out on the roof in his nightclothes, no different up here from the slave beside him. The fire is the one thing in this whole owned world that doesn't care who owns what. For days it burns. You'll lose count. 6 days, they'll say afterward. then a flare-up, and 3 more. 3 of the city's 14 districts gone to ash, 7 more half-ruined. Your hill holds, the wind shifts, the roof stays wet and whole. But you stand in the chain, and you watch a quarter of the greatest city on earth become smoke and a smell that gets into everything, your hair, the back of your throat. And down in the streets, in the refugee crush of people who've lost everything, a sound starts to move that isn't the fire. It's a rumor. It comes up the hill with the displaced and the frightened, passed hand to hand like the buckets, and it says, "The emperor sang." While it burned, so the whisper goes, Nero stood somewhere high and safe, and was moved, not to grief, but to art, took up the lyre and sang of the fall of Troy, that other great city in flames, because the spectacle was too magnificent to waste. Now, you don't know if it's true, and most likely it isn't. The man was 30-some miles off at the coast when it started, and the rumor has the smell of a thing people need to be true, more than a thing that is. But here's what you feel. It doesn't matter whether he sang. What matters is that the whole city believes he could have. They hear the emperor sang while Rome burned, and they nod because they've already understood something they'd never say aloud, that somewhere up there is a person for whom the rest of the world, the burning, breathing rest of it, is finally only a backdrop for his song. The fire dies. The city begins, slowly, to clear its ruins and rebuild, and the rumor goes around again, darker now, that the emperor is rebuilding rather well for himself. A vast golden palace rising where the poor used to live. And then the fire stops being the thing the city fears. Because the next year, a different kind of burning starts, quieter, with no smoke, but you feel it move through Rome all the same. A plot against the emperor, uncovered. A conspiracy, senators, soldiers, a poet or two, to put a knife in him, betrayed before it could strike. And the emperor's fear comes down on the city like weather. The informers come out. You learn the word delatores, men who make a fortune by naming names. Because when a man is condemned for plotting against the emperor, his property is forfeit, and a healthy share of it goes to whoever accused him. So a man's wealth becomes the very thing that draws the knife. Trust goes out of the city like water out of a cracked jar. Men stop saying, even to their own kin, what they think, because who knows which friend has decided your estate would settle his debts. The household goes careful. The master burns letters. And one evening, a name comes up the hill. You're working the Sena, standing against the wall in the lamplight, the level of the watered wine never running dry, the face that gives nothing away. The diners are subdued these days. Nobody talks philosophy on the couches anymore. It's gone out of fashion to praise a thing the emperor mistrusts. They speak low, and one of them says it, half behind his hand, the way men pass deadly news now, that Seneca is dead. You know the name. Everyone knows the name. Seneca, the philosopher, the famous Stoic, and more than that, the emperor's own old tutor, and one of the richest men in the whole of Rome. The ear of the most powerful man alive, and words read in every educated house. If anyone had climbed so high that no hand could reach him, surely it was that man. And the emperor, suspecting him in the plot, has sent soldiers to his house with an order, not to arrest him, to require his death. Open your veins, the order says, or we'll do worse. You stand against the wall and hold very still, and you listen to the rest of it come out in pieces, low, across the couches. How he was calm. How, denied even the right to write his will, he told his weeping friends, he left them the only thing still his to leave, the example of his life. How, his body, old and thin from years of plain living, the blood came slow when he opened his veins, too slow, so that the dying went on and on. How they say he took poison, and the poison too was slow and failed. How at the last they carried him into a warm vapor bath to coax the blood, and how, before the end, he sprinkled a little of the water out, the way you'd pour a few drops for the gods. A libation to Jupiter the Liberator. To Jupiter the Liberator. You don't move. You fill the cup, but somewhere underneath the blank face, down where you keep the names cupped like small flames, something turns over slowly and goes still. Because you've understood something, standing against this wall, you couldn't have understood on any couch in the room. A man with everything the world counts as freedom, and a soldier came to his door with the emperor's word, and he opened his own veins on the floor of his own magnificent house, and the only liberty left was the one a knife could give. And the man who sent the soldier, the one at the very top with the golden palace and the whole world for a backdrop, is, you understand now, with a cold and total certainty, the most frightened person alive. He is so afraid that he keeps ordering the deaths of the very men who taught and advised and served him, because anyone close enough to matter is close enough to be a threat. All that power, all that gold, and not 1 hour of the thing you found on a cold floor with your leg in ruins. You don't say any of it. You finish the cena, and you carry out the cups, and the great house goes dark and quiet around you, district by district, lamp by lamp. And later, when the work is done, you take up your own lamp to find your place by the master's door. A small thing, clay, cheap. The oil hisses faintly as the flame drinks, that same fat, patient sound from the cold floor, the one steady note that's followed you through all of it. You set it down beside you on the tile, and you watch the little flames stand up straight in the still, dark air of a house, of a city, of an empire that has just learned, again, how afraid the powerful are. And you breathe, slow and long, and all the way out. You lie down by the door, your leg aching its old crooked ache. Helene is a room away. You can almost hear her breathing, and you feel it lying there in the dark with the city's fear settling over the rooftops. How strange it is that a slave on the floor outside a door should have, cupped in his 2 hands, where no one can see, the one thing the man on the golden throne would have given the whole burning world to own. The lamp hisses. The flame holds steady, and you close your eyes. let's pause, you and I, in the dark for a moment. If this story is keeping you company tonight, a kind rating helps other restless souls find their way to it. No rush, only if it's been good to you. Now, back to Rome. The emperor dies, and you hear it the way you hear most things, sideways, in the market, passed hand to hand, like a coin worn smooth. Nero is gone. Abandoned at the last by the very men who flattered him, declared an enemy by his own senate, run to ground in a freedman's villa outside the walls, and there, they say, unable even to do the thing himself, the most powerful man in the world had a servant guide, the blade. You stand in the market with your basket, and you don't say anything. But underneath the still face, down where you keep the names cupped like small flames, something goes very still. Because you remember the night the name Seneca came up the hill. The libation poured to the god who sets men free. And here is the man who sent that soldier, the most frightened person alive. You'd understood even then, and the fear has finished its work on him at last. It came for him the way the white stone comes up out of the ground at home, slow and patient, turning all it touches to stone. What follows is a year of confusion, emperors raised up and pulled down so fast the city loses count. And careful men, in uncertain years, settle their accounts. They free a slave or two, partly kindness, mostly because a freed man who owes you loyalty is steadier than a slave who might be scattered if the wheel turns. And one morning, the master sends for you. You've been sent for 1,000 times. So you go the way you always go, the clean tunic, the still face, and you stand before him in the slant morning light, and you wait. He looks at you. Properly, which is unusual, the powerful mostly don't. And he tells you that you've served the house well, that your savings, your peculium, scraped together year on year, are nearly enough. And the rest of the gap, in light of the times, he is willing to forgive. You don't understand, at first. And then you do. He's offering you the cap. You have to understand what that little fund is. It's no great sum to a man like him. To a man like you, it's the price of a person, gathered a coin, at a time over more years than you can count. Every as of it is, a night you stayed up copying when your eyes burned. It is, in the most literal way, your life, weighed out in metal. And it buys you yourself. There's a ceremony, of course there is. You go before a magistrate who has a rod, the vindictor. A friend of the master's claims, for the form of it, that you are free already. The master does not contest it. The magistrate touches you with the rod. Then a hand turns you. A full turn, all the way round. Such a small thing. A hand on your shoulder steering you in a circle. And when you come back to facing front, you are, by the law of Rome, a different kind of thing than a breath ago. Not property. Not a vessel on a shelf, priced like a vase. A person. In the ledgers that count. For the first time, since a doorway in Phrygia and a pair of warm hands letting go. And they shave your head and set the cap on it. The pileus. Felt, close-fitting, the cap a free man wears. They place it on your bared scalp, the whole visible mark of it. You reach up and touch it. Wool, near enough, under your fingers. Of course it would be wool, the sign of your freedom, smelling of the thing your mother's hands smelled of, the thing Helene's hands smell of. You think of a loom in a white-hilled town and a low, warm laugh, and you keep your face very still, because a free man is allowed his dignity, but not in a magistrate's chamber, his tears. You take a name. A freedman takes his patron's family name. You fold the master's nomen in front of your own. So, on any document, you're a proper string of Roman names now. But the last part, the personal part, that one you keep. Felix. You keep Felix. And here's the joke of it, except it isn't quite the same joke anymore. A steward laughed that name onto a chalk-footed boy on a block long ago. The lucky one. He looked at a child who owned nothing and decided the funniest thing to call him was fortunate. And you've decided to keep it, not because the cruelty stopped being cruel, but because you've turned it over so many times that it's worn smooth and become something else. And you stand there and think, where the joke can't be heard, well, lucky after all. Just not in any way he could have meant. You keep manes too, of course, cupped small, the thread your mother sewed into you. But Felix, you wear now on the outside, in the daylight, the curse made into a thing that's yours. So, you walk out a free man. And here's the part no one warns you about. It doesn't feel like much. Oh, it's enormous. Don't mistake me. It's the impossible thing every slave dreams of, the thing most die still pressed against a wall to reach. You can be sold no longer. No hand can bend your leg in a doorway and answer to no law for it. Your children, if you have them, will be born free, no chalk. The thread runs clean from here. By every measure the world keeps, it is the great triumph of your life. And you stand in the street, the cap new on your head, and you feel the same. Exactly the same as an hour ago. Because the cap changed your status. It did not change the other thing. The no on the cold floor. The part of you that stepped back across a line, a breaking hand couldn't follow, that was free already. You'd done it yourself, years ago, in the dark, with your leg in ruins, and no word for it, and no magistrate gave you that, nor could ever have taken it. The law just spent this morning catching up, with great ceremony, to a freedom you'd been living inside for years. It's a strange feeling, finding out the prize you bled for was already in your pocket. You almost laugh, the small, dry, private one. Still, you'll take the cap. A man takes what's offered, especially this. And then, walking home, you come to the thing that isn't decided. Because you didn't walk out with nothing. You walked out with a little, the dregs of the peculium the master didn't take, the small hard sum a careful man hoards against the cold. Not much. But the first money in your whole life that's actually yours, and it sits in your hand like a single coin of pure possibility. And you've always known the two things you could do with it. You could keep it, let the little grow, end in a small, sure life with walls you can stand behind. God knows you've earned that. And there's a voice in you, an old, cold voice, the one that learned long ago that the way to be safe is to grip what little you have and let nothing pull it loose. And it says, hold on. You've been owned your whole life. For once, keep something for yourself. Or you could spend it, all of it, on her. Because Helene is still in the house. Helene is still a slave. The same law that turned you in a circle would turn her too. For nearly every coin you have and then some, the whole thin scrape of your new freedom poured out in a single morning. You'd walk back in a man of small means and walk out a man of none. Nothing between you and the next bad turn of the wheel but your two hands. For her. And you stand in the street and let yourself feel both. You don't freeze either one out. You learned that the hard way, in a corridor where her light went out because you'd gone cold. So you honor the careful voice, because it isn't wrong. You have so little and you've wanted to be safe for so long. And you let the other thing speak too, the wool smell of her hands, the plain fact that a safe life behind a wall, without her in it, is not a life you'd care to live. Both paths. Weighed honest on the open palm. And then you reach for the handle of the magistrate's door a second time. You spend it. All of it. Every coin. The whole of your fragile new footing poured out in one bright, reckless morning. And a hand turns Helene in a circle, and a magistrate touches her with the rod, and they shave her head and set a cap of felt upon it. And she reaches up and touches it the way you did, and her hand comes away smelling of wool, the way it always has. And the two of you walk out into the morning with nothing, less than nothing, your savings and footing gone, the whole indifferent city roaring on as before. Free, both of you, cupped close, where no one can see. It's the poorest you've been since the block, and you have never, in your whole life, felt richer. You start, as you started everything, with almost nothing. A room. That's the first thing freedom buys, rented cheap, up one of the safer lower floors of an insula, a window that lets the street in, a corner for a bed, not much else. Small. Plain. The walls are someone else's, the way they've always been someone else's. But the rent is paid with your own coin, by your own hand, and a borrowed wall you pay for yourself is a different thing entirely than a borrowed wall you're kept behind. And in the middle of the room, on a low shelf, you set the lamp. The earthenware lamp. Clay, cheap, plain, the same humble little lamp that hissed on the cold floor on the worst night of your life. The one steady note that's followed you through all of it. You could afford a better one now, just barely. You don't. There's a thought you keep turning over, that a man could fill his life with finer, brighter lamps, and never once have more light than this gives. The light was never in the lamp anyway, so you keep the clay one, and it throws its small, steady glow up the wall of your own rented room, and it's enough. And you become a teacher. It happens slowly, the way the real things do. You're a literate freedman with a gift you'd folded up small for years, and now, for the first time, you can unfold it in the open. You take a freedman's work at first, copying, accounts, a letter written for a man who can't, but you find yourself in the colonnades, falling into the old shape, the one you learned half hidden behind a pillar, watching a plain man turn a knot of listeners' lives sideways with a few dry words. So you talk to the men who'll listen about what's yours and what was never yours, about the no a breaking hand can't reach, about how to hold a thing you love without the white knuckles, loosely and fully, the way you hold everything you know you don't own, which is everything. And people listen. Not crowds, never crowds. You're no orator. You've a hitch in your leg and a plain tunic. But a few, and they come back, and they bring others. And one day, you look up from your low step, and there's a knot of people on the stones in front of you, and you understand, with a quiet jolt, that you've become the thing you used to watch. And the best part, the part that does something to your chest, is who's in the knot. A young man in a good tunic, money in the family, you can read it in the cloth. Beside him, on the same stone, a porter with rope burns on his hands, a soldier off duty, and slaves. 2, 3, in the plain undyed tunics, you know from the inside, the chalk long gone from their feet, but the watchfulness still in their eyes, sitting among the free, as though the line that runs through all of Rome simply didn't exist in this dusty shade. Because here, it doesn't. You won't let it. You learned that from Sostratus. You teach the slave beside the citizen, and you teach them the same, because what you're teaching is the one thing they equally have, the same fragment of the same fire in the slave and the rich man's son alike. A man told you once that you're first a citizen of the world before you're a citizen of anything smaller. You didn't quite believe it then. You believe it now. You've stood on both sides of the line and found the same thing standing there. And you don't flatter them. That, too, from Sostratus, the dry rigor. That's the most respectful thing one person can do for another. You tell the eager young ones it's hard, that they probably haven't the stomach for it. You send the unworthy off with go home and watch who climbs back on. A man who sorts believes there's something worth sorting. And of an evening, you go home to Helene. That's the plateau. The quiet, wide place the whole long climb arrives at. And I want to slow down here, you and I, because this is the part worth lingering in. The two of you, free, building a small, meaningful life out of almost nothing. She works still. Freedom doesn't fill a cookpot. You both work, you at your letters, she at her cloth. Only now, the coin comes home to a room that's yours. And in the evening, you eat something simple, and you talk, and she still has the dry, quick tongue. The joke landed an inch under the surface. Only now there's no master to hide it from. So she lands it right out in the open, and you laugh, properly, the way you never could against a wall. And the small room holds the sound. By every measure the world keeps, it's a poor life. The men you served at no dinners now, the men with the turning halls and the ceilings that rain rose petals, would look at it and see nothing in it at all. And it's the richest you have ever been, and you know it every single night. Because here's the thing you finally have the words for, sitting in the lamplight with the day going quiet. Attention. That's what the good life was always made of. The thing they sell you on the couches and never quite buy with all their gold, not coin, attention. The willingness to actually be here, in this room, with this woman, this bread, this small, steady flame, and let the evening be the enough it is. And you have a clay lamp and a bowl of lentils and her laugh in a borrowed room. And then there's the thing you do each night, the small ritual that becomes, without your quite deciding it, the quiet heartbeat of the whole life. When the meal's done and the work's set down, when the lamp is low and Helene has gone quiet and drifting, you take a moment alone with the small flame, and you put the day on trial. You learned the bones of it from Sostratus, who had it from older men than him. It's simple. You go back over the day, the whole of it, hiding nothing from yourself, the way you'd account to a fair and patient judge, who happens to be you. And you ask the day 3 quiet questions. What fault did I cure today? What weakness did I stand against? In what small way am I better tonight than I woke? That's all. You don't flog yourself with it. It's not a scourge, it's a reckoning, gentle and honest. Where you fell short, you name it plainly, and let it go, and resolve to do better tomorrow. Where you held the line, didn't grip, didn't go cold, didn't let some passing fool's slight knock you off your center, you note it quietly, the way you'd note a coin added to a fund. And then you let the whole day go, and you sleep, calm and deep and easy. It's a strange and useful thing, that small nightly accounting, the way naming the day's faults somehow lets the mind set them down, so they don't follow you under and circle in the dark. You think sometimes, drifting off, that it's the same motion as your mother at the loom, the day's threads taken up one by one, set in their place, the cloth a little longer by morning. And then the shuttle stops, and the hands go still, and there's only the dark and the slow breath, in and long, and all the way out, and the small flame standing straight in the still air, and her hands reach away, breathing. That's the life. Years of it, soft and plain and full, the room, the lamp, the listeners on the stones, her laugh, the small steady joy of a thing you built yourself out of almost nothing, and held loosely and called, rightly, enough. And then, one evening, you're coming home through the blue dusk, and you hear a name. It's spoken low, That's the first thing you notice, the way you noticed the cold of a floor once, the wrong color of a dark sky once, before the meaning. Lo, by one man to another, in a doorway. And the other man glances over his shoulder before he answers. A small thing in the ordinary blue dusk of an ordinary street. The name is Domitian. You don't know much. Only that he's emperor now, has been a while, and that lately, the way men say his name has changed, gone quiet, gone careful, picked up that backward glance. And you stand a moment in the dusk, with the name settling over the evening, like the first faint chill of a season turning, and something in you, some old watchfulness that kept you whole through worse, stirs and lifts its head. You go home. The lamp is lit, Helene is there, the warm room. You don't say anything about the name. Why would you? It's a fine evening. Her hand finds yours in the lamplight. But the chill stays in the room with you, just at the edge of the light, the way a draft stays even after the door is shut. And when you put the day on trial that night, by the low, steady flame, the name is in the room too, sitting just outside the glow, quiet, patient. The thing about fear is how quietly it comes back into a city. No fire on the horizon this time, no orange glow under the shutters, no chain of hands hauling water in the dark. It comes the way the cold comes into a room, a degree at a time, so slow you don't mark the moment it arrives, only notice one evening that you've been cold for a while. You notice it first in the way men talk, or rather, in the way they've stopped. The colonnades go quieter. The dry, open arguing about ideas, the lifeblood of the whole pursuit, thins and goes careful. Men still come, but they glance over their shoulders the way that man in the doorway glanced, and they say the dangerous things low, or not at all, and you understand that a new word has laid its hand over the city's mouth. The word is master and God. They say the emperor likes to be called it Dominus et Deus, master and God, and whether he commands it or merely lets it bloom around him, the flatterers have taken it up. You hear it, and something in you goes very still, because you've seen this before. You know in your body what's under the gold and the titles, never strength. The man who must be called a god is the most frightened man alive. You'd stake your life on it, though you'd be a fool to say so out loud. Because they're listening now. That's the other thing that comes back. The informers. The delatores. You remember them from the last great fear, men who make a fortune naming names, because a share of a condemned man's forfeit property goes to whoever accused him. So, a man's wealth becomes the very thing that draws the knife. They're back. Worse, maybe. And the city stops trusting itself. Men go quiet at their own tables, because who knows which friend has done the cold arithmetic and decided your small life would settle his debts. You feel it walking the streets, the held breath of a whole city, where to be seen and to be heard has become the most dangerous thing a person can do. You teach more carefully now. You can't help it. You weigh your words, watch the faces on the stones a beat longer, sorting now not only for who has the stomach for the work, but for who might carry it, lowered into the wrong ear. It's a poison, that watchfulness, and you can't fully put it down. The danger's real, and you have a wife and a room, and a careful man protects those. And then they burn the books. You hear of it before you'd ever go and see. No one goes to see. The seeing is the danger. The word comes low, hand to hand. There were men, good men, by every account that dares be spoken, who did a simple thing. They wrote. One wrote in praise of an older man, a Stoic of the great generation, who'd opened his own veins rather than live a lie, and poured the blood out as a libation to the God who sets men free. Another wrote the life of another such man, an admiration set down in ink for the dead who died well. And for that, for praising good men already gone, they are condemned and executed, and their books carried into the forum and burned. You sit with that by the low lamp, and it does something cold and total to you. Burned. In the open square, at the heart of the city, a fire made of nothing but words. The smoke of it goes up over the forum, the way the smoke of the great fire once blotted out the stars, and the men who lit it believe they're burning more than paper. They think, watching the pages curl, that the very voice of the Roman people is going up in that smoke, set alight to teach the rest of them to be afraid. And maybe that's exactly what's dying over the forum. But you sit by your clay lamp, your own small, honest flame, and you find, turning it over in the long quiet of the night, that there's a thing they cannot burn. You don't say it grandly. You've a plain man's distrust of grand sayings. You just notice it. They can burn the books and kill the men who wrote them, and make the whole city watch and learn to tremble. But the thing the men believed, that a person's soul is their own and no emperor's, was never in the paper. It was in them. The fire reaches the words, and not the thing the words were about. You don't write any of this down. You'd be a fool, this season, to write anything down. And then the edict comes. It's read aloud, a voice in the public places, reading out the will of the Master and God. And the words land in your small-built life like a stone through the one window you own. The philosophers are expelled, all of them, out of Rome and out of all Italy. The teachers, the men who gather knots of listeners on the stones, the regime has decided they're a danger and they are to go. Leave the city. Leave the country. By order. And you sit by the lamp and understand that the order means you. You, the lame freedman with the rented room and the clay lamp, who clawed your way up a coin and a year at a time, you're a philosopher now, in the eyes of the Master and God, one of the dangerous ones who are to leave. So, here's the thing, the night sets down in front of you. Quietly, without ceremony, in the lamplight, while the city sleeps. You could stop. You could simply stop teaching. Close your mouth. Become what you were before. A literate freedman who copies letters and troubles no one. You'd keep the room, the lamp, her, the whole built thing, intact behind its walls. The edict expels philosophers. Stop being one, visibly anyway. Let the rest live unspoken in your own chest, and the edict has nothing to reach. The same careful voice that spoke up the morning of the cap speaks up again. And it isn't wrong. You've earned the right to be left alone at last. Keep your head down. Keep the life. Or you keep teaching, and you go. Because here's what the cold voice always leaves out, the thing you learned at terrible cost, when a woman's light went out because you'd gone safe and cold. A life kept by putting out your own small flame, for fear of the day they'll snuff it, isn't safety at all. It's just a different cell. You've only swapped the emperor for your own fear, and let that fear call itself freedom. And the thing they're trying to expel isn't your body. The body was always the easy part, the part that gets chalked and priced. It's the teaching, the open passing of the one fire from hand to hand, and that you carry in the only place it ever lived. It weighs nothing. It can't be burned, and it can't be left behind. And here's where it goes differently than the cap. That morning, you weighed 2 whole lives on your open palm. This is no such balance. You feel tired and afraid and sick at the size of what it costs. But there's a no in you that has already refused to be the thing the Master and God demands. The careful voice keeps talking. You let it. It just doesn't get a vote it was ever going to win. You will keep teaching, which means you must leave. You tell Helene. And here's the mercy of the whole hard hour. She's already packing. She doesn't argue. She knew, the way she's always known you, before the words were out. Those hands are folding the little you own into a bundle, and when she catches you watching, she gives you a look, a dry one, an old one, that says, plainly, well, we've started over with less than this. And you have, once with nothing but a chalked-up boy's secret name cupped in your hands. You can do it with a wife and a lamp, and the thing no edict can expel. The clay lamp you wrap careful in a fold of wool, so it won't crack on the road, because of course you bring the lamp, you'd sooner leave a hand behind. And one grey morning, before the city's much awake, you walk out of the gates of Rome. Rome. The city you smelled before you ever saw it, off the back of a slave cart. The city that put you on a block and chalked your feet, broke your leg in a corridor, and gave you the words for the thing the breaking couldn't reach. You clawed your whole way up here, and you walk out of it now with what you walked in with, near enough. A bundle, a wife, a name, and the one thing they could never reach, and now cannot keep. The road runs west, and then it will run to water. You know this road, or roads like it. You came in along one once, a frightened boy at the end of a long thread, the white hills of home already swallowed behind you. Now you go out along another, and Rome falls away at your back, the way home once did. The great smoking sprawl of it, shrinking, until the walls drop out of sight. It's morning. The light is grey and plain and ordinary. The bundle is on your shoulder, the lamp wrapped in wool inside it, Helene walking at your side with her own bundle and her own quiet, and your bad leg sets its old familiar hitch into the rhythm of the road. Ahead, somewhere, is the coast and the heaving grey back of the sea you crossed once in the wrong direction. You don't know what's at the far end. You don't reach for it. There's only the road under your feet, and the cool morning air, and the breath you draw, in, slow, and a little more at the top, and all the way out, and the woman beside you, and the small wrapped flame on your back that no fire in any forum could ever burn. You walk. The sea takes you the way it took the boy you used to be, only this time you go willingly, and you go free. You stand at the rail of a small ship with Helene beside you, and you watch Italy thin out behind you. It doesn't vanish all at once. It just lowers, the hills going blue, then bluer, then becoming only a place you remember. Rome is back there somewhere, the great smoking sprawl that put you on a block and named you lucky for a joke. You watch the land go down into the water. You don't reach for it. You've learned, by now, the difference between a thing you grip and a thing you simply let be what it is. The crossing is what crossings are. The heave and the swell, the grey back of the sea breathing under the hull. You're not a young man anymore. The leg likes the pitching deck even less than it liked the road, and there are hours in the dark of the little hold, with a clay lamp wrapped in wool and not much else, when the whole enterprise feels like exactly what it is. And here's the strange thing, lying in the dark with the timbers groaning. You're not afraid. There's a man you've heard of, long dead, now hundreds of years gone. A merchant carrying a fortune in purple dye across this same wine-dark water, and the sea took it. All of it. He washed up on a strange shore ruined, a rich man made poor in a single night. And what he found there, with everything gone, was the only thing he'd ever keep. He said something about it after. That he'd made his most prosperous voyage on the day he was wrecked. You don't say his words like a lesson. You'd never. You just lie there in the dark of the hold, and you find the old story keeps you company, the worst day, the first day, and you let it, and somewhere in the middle of the night, the sea rocks you, of all things, gently, to sleep. And then, one morning, there's land. It comes up out of the haze ahead, the way home once went down, behind you, slow, blue, resolving. A wide, calm bay. Low green hills coming down to the water, mild and soft, nothing like the 7 hard hills of Rome. A different light. Gentler. The kind that doesn't seem to be in a hurry about anything. The city is called Nicopolis, the Victory City. A great emperor built it, generations back, to mark a battle won, just out past the mouth of this very bay, where one man came away, master of the world. And now, the city, built to crown a conquest, has become the quiet far edge of the empire, the place a teacher washes up when a later master decides his words are dangerous. It strikes you, standing on the dock with your bundle, as a fine joke, the gentle kind. They named it for one man's triumph, and it's about to become the home of a freedom that man never had. You just smile, the small, dry, private one, and you shoulder the bundle, and you go and find a room. A room. The way you've started everything. Plain walls, a corner for a bed, a window that lets the soft sea light in. You set the lamp on a shelf, the clay one, unwrapped now from its fold of wool, none the worse for the crossing. You light it, and it throws its small, steady glow up an unfamiliar wall and makes it, in an instant, yours. And then, the way the real things happen, slowly they come. One at first. A young man who heard there was a teacher, lately come from Rome, who'd talk to anyone who'd sit and listen. He sits. You talk. And he comes back. And he brings another. And they keep coming. That's the thing that undoes you a little. In the good years that follow, they come from everywhere. From Rome and from the provinces, the young men with money in the cloth, and the ones with rope burns on their hands, the soldier and the freedman, and, yes, still, always, the slave, the plain undyed tunic, and the watchful eyes you'd know anywhere. From the inside, a borrowed room becomes a crowded one. The crowded one becomes a hall. The thing they tried to expel from Rome, it walked out of the city alive, in you, the only place it ever lived. And here, beyond the reach of the frightened man and his fires, it simply opened back up. There was a teacher, your own teacher spoke of him once, sent into a far worse exile than this. A rock in the sea, barren, near waterless, the place they sent a man when they wanted the sending itself to be the punishment. And he went, and he found a little water, and he planted things, and his students sailed out to sit on the bare stones beside him, and the prison rock became a school. You think of him sometimes, here in your mild green city, and you understand the thing he understood, that a man can be exiled from a country, but the things that actually matter, the courage, the justice, the steady mind, those pack light and travel free and cannot be left at any border. So, they took your city and gave you, without meaning to, a hall full of the whole world's children, warming themselves at the one fire that's free to all of them equally. It's the poorest, in a way, you've ever been. Exiled, aging, a stranger on a far coast. And the lamp burns steady in the soft sea dark, and Helene's there of an evening with her hands that still smell of wool, and you would not, you find, trade this far gentle room for the golden house of any emperor who ever lived. The years pass softly. You grow old by the sea. And now you are old. It came the way everything has come, slowly, then all at once. The hitch in your leg is a stoop now. The hands that took dictation so cleanly have their own small tremor. The hair's gone to white, white as the travertine hills you were born among, the snow that was never snow. You sit most days now rather than stand, and the voice is an old man's voice. But the hall still fills, and there's a particular young man who's taken to sitting closest every day with a wax tablet on his knee and a stylus that never seems to stop. His name is Arius. He's quicker than you were, maybe, and you were quick. Money in the family, he could be off being important somewhere. Instead, he's here, on the stones, writing down an old freedman's words. And here's the thing that makes you smile: you've never written a word of it. Not once. The men who taught you wrote nothing, and their teachers before them. The whole long line of it passed mouth to ear, hand to hand, the living fire, and never the dead page. And young Arius, without being asked, decides the words shouldn't go out of the world when you do. He speaks freely. That one argues, presses, catches you in a loose thread, and grins about it, and you let him, and you love him for it. What he does with the tablets after is his affair. The fire was never yours to keep, anyway, only to pass. And of an evening now, when the hall's emptied, and Helene's gone quiet and drifting, you sit alone with the lamp, the way you always have. And lately, it's an old man's habit, this. You find your mind goes up and out. You let yourself rise, the way you'd climb a hill behind your home as a boy, to see the whole valley laid out small, only higher. Above the room, above the city, up until Nicopolis, is a scatter of lamps, and Rome is a far glow over the curve of the world, and the whole sea is a dark sheet between them, and higher, until the empire that owns the maps is just a stain of light on a turning ball, and the emperors who terrified it are smaller than the dust on your tablet, and the wheeling stars come out over all of it, cold and patient and enormous. And there, somewhere down in all that dark, small as a single spark, there's you. One life. A chalk-footed boy, a lamed man, an old teacher by a clay lamp. So small, under all those stars. And it doesn't frighten you. It's the strangest thing. Made that small, you'd think a person would feel like nothing at all, and instead, you feel, for the first time, the exact and honest size of your one life. And it's enough, and you are at peace inside it. You think, sometimes, in that high, cold quiet, of a name you heard long ago against a wall in the lamplight. The richest man in Rome, poured out on the floor of his own magnificent house, opening his own veins because a frightened emperor required it, and sprinkling a little water at the last, the way you'd pour a few drops for the gods, a libation, to the one who sets men free, the liberator. You understood it as a young man, standing against that wall with a cup to fill. The only freedom they'd left him was the one a knife could reach. He found his liberty in the dying, because the living had been taken from him. And you sit here now, old, by your lamp, a freed slave at the far edge of the world, and you find you have to put it down differently. Because the freedom you found They never could command a single hour of it. Not Bassus, with his breaking hands, not the emperors with their fires. You didn't have to die to reach it. It was here, in the living. In the room, in the lamp, in her breathing, in the dark, in the no that no hand could ever reach. The same liberty he poured out his blood to touch, you've been quietly drinking it, every ordinary evening, for 50 years. Not in the dying, in the life. So you take up the day, this last while, the way you always have. The small nightly accounting. You learned the bones of it from a plain man on a step, a practice as old as the whole pursuit. You go back over the day, gently, hiding nothing, and you ask it the 3 quiet questions you've asked 10,000 nights. What fault did I cure today? What weakness did I stand against? In what small way am I better tonight than I woke? And tonight there's little enough to answer. You're an old man. The great faults were cured long ago, or made their peace with you. The day was quiet and good. So you don't flog yourself over it. You just balance the small books of the day and let it go. Nothing left rehearsing itself in the dark. And lying there, with the lamp going low, you think, not in words, hardly even a thought, more a thing you simply feel about the 2 names. There was the one, a steward laughed onto a boy on a block. Felix. The lucky one, a joke meant to wound. You wore it your whole life and wore it smooth and made it yours. The cruelty turned. Lucky after all, just not in any way he could have meant. And there was the other. The real one. The one your mother sewed into you in a doorway, cupped small your whole life where no one could see. The thread, she said, could be followed home. Mains. And you find, here at the soft end of it, that you can open your hand on both of them now. Gently. The way you've learned to open your hand on everything you don't own. Because they were both of them only names, the kind one and the cruel one alike, and a name was never the thing. They put one on you to mark you as a tool, and you kept the other to keep yourself. But the self it was guarding was always there underneath, nameless and entire. The thing the breaking couldn't reach, and the cap couldn't grant, and no master, and no emperor, and no exile could ever, ever touch. What's yours was never the name. What's yours is the one who carries it, and that you've had, free and whole, since long before you had any word for it. And so you understand, at the very last, the thing you couldn't have understood as a young man kneeling on a cold floor with a hand bending your leg in the dark. You weren't brave that night. You've never been able to call it bravery, and it always nagged at you, the not knowing where the quiet came from. But you know now. You were calm on that stone floor, with the bone reaching its limit, and a furious man hungry for you to break. You were calm because you had already found, without yet having any name for it, the one room no hand could reach. He had your leg. He could have your whole body, the law said so. And you had quietly stepped back across a line he didn't even know was there, into the one place in a person that no master ever owns unless the person opens the door, and you simply, that night, did not open the door. That was all. That was the whole of it. The peace behind your eyes on the worst night of your life was the very same peace that's here now, behind these old eyes, by this low lamp. You found it, broken, on a floor. You die holding it whole. The lamp is low. The little flame stands straight in the still dark air, the oil hissing faint, that small fat patient sound that's followed you through every room of your whole long life. Helene is there, a hand's reach away, breathing slow and even in the dark. There is nothing left in the room that anyone could want, and nothing left in you that anyone could take, and you are not afraid. You let your breath go out, long and slow, and all the way to the bottom. And you let go. Free in mind. Before you drift all the way down, if this life kept you company tonight, carry it to someone who needs a quiet night of their own. Send them this story. It costs you nothing, and it might be the kindest thing you do tomorrow. Since you made it this far, I'm glad you enjoyed the episode. If you would like to continue listening to episodes with similar themes, I linked them in the description below. You will also find a playlist of our most popular videos. Sleep now, nightlings. And wake up, as always, a little stronger and a little wiser. The story is done, but yours continues.